On this video, I'm going to show you how to get paid and how to invoice for your cleaning business. And not only that, but if you stay until the end of the video, I'm going to show you my pricing formula so you can price your cleaning services correctly. I'm going to go over methods of payments and how to get paid faster so you don't have to wait 30 days to get paid for your commercial cleaning services. And before I mention everything I know about invoicing ongoing commercial contracts, is that this information only applies to ongoing commercial contracts. And let's talk about the first point, and that is invoicing the clients every 4 weeks instead of monthly. And I like to invoice the clients every 4 weeks because number one, whenever you tell someone monthly, they always think it's 4 weeks. But in reality, a month has 4.33 weeks in a month. So whenever we have the weekly total, we have to times that by 4.33 to get the monthly estimate. But when a client is doing the calculation, they're going to take that number and they're going to divide that by 4. So our weekly total will seem a lot higher than what it actually is. And I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because in my first few years, I always used to invoice the client once a month. And there was a contract where the invoice was coming around 8,700, 9,000-ish. After a few years, the client realized, it's like, oh wow, we're almost spending almost $10,000 for cleaning services. And they started getting different quotes and I lost that contract. But if I would have invoiced them every 4 weeks, the invoice would have been around 7,000 something. It would have been a much better option compared to paying almost 9,000, but it would have been the same amount. But when we invoice them every 4 weeks, we get to invoice them 13 times a year. So by splitting the payments more frequently, every payment seems a lot smaller in perspective. And the second reason is that when you invoice them every 4 weeks, you get to invoice them more frequently, so you get paid a little bit faster. And the last reason why I like this is that whenever they're comparing different estimates, you seem very competitive because everyone else is pricing monthly and you're pricing every 4 weeks. Most people automatically think that it's the same thing, but it's not. And now I want to talk about what is net 30, what is net 10, net 15. And net 30 means that the client has 30 days to pay after you send the invoice. And I see a lot of residential people out there saying you can get paid up front, stuff like that, but that's more towards residential or small commercial accounts. But when it comes to the big corporate cleaning contracts that pay thousands every month, the standard is usually net 30. And sure, you can negotiate net 20, net 15, net 10, but that is going to put you at a disadvantage compared to someone else who does net 30, who is willing to wait 30 days to get paid. So sure, you can negotiate whatever terms you want. It's your business, but the standard in commercial accounts is net 30, but we don't want to wait 30 days to get paid. That's too long, especially when we have to pay the cleaners. So what I like to do is I send the invoice right away. As soon as we start working, we send the invoice right away so we get paid at the end of the month. And I see a lot of people complaining about net 30, and that is because you're sending the invoice at the end of the month when you finish working, when you should be sending it in the beginning of the month. And just like that, you're gonna get paid 30 days faster. And that leads me to my third point, is always being cash flow positive. If you have to pay cleaners and you haven't gotten paid yourself, that is gonna create a negative cash flow in your business. You're gonna be stressing out, having to touch your savings in order to pay the cleaners and waiting to get paid. But the trick is to always be cash flow positive. Get paid first and then you pay the cleaner. And how do we do that? So we send the invoice right away within 5 days of working. And what I like to do is I like to hire subcontractors instead of hourly cleaners. And there's a lot of benefits to hiring contractors. It's the same individuals, it's just how we pay them. Instead of doing all these deductions, we simply pay them a fixed amount for the contract every month without any deductions. And they simply send us an invoice once a month and we write that off as a business expense. So I like to pay my subcontractors monthly. So let's say we send the invoice right away. We're going to get paid around the 30th. And the subcontractor is going to send me the invoice around the 30th, 31st with net 12 terms, meaning that I have 12 days to pay them after they give me the invoice. So that allows me to get paid first, and then I have to pay them within a week and a half later. So I'm always cash flow positive. This is very important, guys. Always get paid first and then pay the contractor. But make sure that they understand those terms, because if you have hourly cleaners, you're gonna have to pay them every 2 weeks. And that is when you're gonna have a 2-week gap between paying them and getting paid. So this only works if you're using subcontractors. And now let's talk about the methods of payments. And there's going to be multiple methods of payments. Ideally, you want to get paid with a direct wire transfer, a wire transfer that goes directly to your bank account. And there's a lot of clients out there that will mail you the check, like a physical check to your address. But me personally, I don't like that because it can take several days to arrive. It can get lost in the mail. You have to check your mail often to see when you got the check. And when you get the check, there's usually several business days for the check to clear. So ideally, we want to get paid with a direct wire transfer. And these two methods of payments are usually for the very large accounts. For smaller accounts, I simply like to get paid with a credit card. So whenever I send an invoice to a client that's under $1,000 a month, I simply tell them that they can pay with a credit card, but that is going to charge 3% processing fees. So it's gonna take 3% out of my profit unless I tell the client to cover that, and we just simply charge 3% on the invoice. But usually when they pay with a credit card, they can pay directly from the invoice using a card, and you have to set up Stripe with your invoice platform. And for the smaller accounts or medium-sized accounts, you can honestly do any method of payment. And with smaller accounts, if you're in Canada, you can get paid with e-transfer, or if you're in the US, you can use Zelle to get paid. But this is only for the smaller accounts. For the bigger accounts, they're gonna be a little bit more professional, and they're either gonna send you a check or a direct wire transfer directly to your bank. And by the way, guys, if you guys are doing one-time jobs or little residential projects here and there, you can use any method of payment: cash, Venmo, Cash App, e-transfer, Zelle. You can even do crypto if you wanted. So don't worry too much about this with smaller accounts. And now let's talk about who pays us. So whenever we get a commercial client, there's usually gonna be a person that we stay in communication directly. So whenever there's complaints or basic communication going back and forth, we're gonna talk directly to that one person from that company. But what I like to do is whenever I get a commercial contract, I ask, who is the person that's going to be paying us? Who is the finance person, accountant, that's going to be in charge of paying the invoices? So whenever we get a new contract, I specifically ask for the person in charge of the payments. So that way, whenever we have to bother them for the payments, I have to only bother one person, and we're not bothering the decision maker who hired us. And I like to do this simply just to not bother the main decision maker, just to keep the client happy, and if they stay happy, they can stay with us for many years. Another point I want to go over is what do we do when these payments are overdue. So we can charge a little interest on the overdue invoices, but don't worry about commercial accounts not paying you. Usually they always pay because these are established businesses. Usually whenever I dealt with clients not wanting to pay, was always in the residential side. When I started cleaning, before I had any commercial contracts, I only ran into clients not wanting to pay on the residential side. But when it came to the commercial side, usually they always paid, but sometimes they take their time. So that's when we can charge a little interest on the overdue invoices. But a lot of clients will straight up reject the interest. But sometimes we have to be a little patient, because even though they take their time sometimes, or let's say they only do payment runs every 2 weeks, or maybe the accounts payable person, the finance person is on vacation or something, we don't want to harass the client, and we can send them reminders, but we cannot bother them so much so we don't put any tension on the relationship. Remember, guys, as a cleaning business, the client is always right, even if they're blaming us for something unrelated. We just have to do anything possible to keep them happy, because having good customer service will go a long way into the future. And now the final part about sending invoices is using the right platform. So I like to use Wave Apps, which is completely free. There's also QuickBooks, but that has a subscription. I personally like Wave Apps because it's free and you can send automatic invoices every 4 weeks or once a month or weekly. Clients can pay directly in the invoice because you can set up your card details and get paid with a credit card. You can also set up auto reminders. So if someone's overdue by 3 days, it's going to automatically send them an auto reminder to their email, or 14 days later. You can write a little description on the invoices, and whenever you get paid, you simply go in the app and you mark it as paid. Very simple, guys. I know I'm not showing you the platform on this video, but simply just go to Wave Apps, and it's very easy to navigate and use the platform. It's like using Facebook. Very easy. It'll take 5 minutes to learn. And that platform also does the accounting and everything you need to run the business and send invoices correctly. And when you put it on autopilot, you don't have to send invoices manually every month. It sends automatically. All you have to do is just keep track of when you get paid. So you go to the app and you mark it as got paid. So you can keep track of clients that paid and the clients that are overdue. And there's a lot more to running a commercial cleaning business. And if you want to have me as your mentor, get weekly coaching every week, get all my systems, my lead systems, the marketing systems, my closing process so you can actually close these contracts, all the SOPs, the step-by-step points, that one-on-one support, and basically grow your commercial cleaning business to 7 figures. Done with you. I'm going to grab your hand and guide you through the process so you can get commercial contracts as fast as possible. So if you're currently doing residential cleaning, or maybe you have another side business and you want to get your own recurring commercial contracts for yourself, it is the best thing you can do. Imagine building a house by yourself for the first time. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes that are gonna set you back years and tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes. And why do that when you can build it one-on-one with the expert? And I have done this with over 200 clients, and I have my own cleaning business, Mastery Cleaning. So the best thing you can do in business is work with someone who's already done this. It is the best thing you can do, guys. So if you're interested and you want to join my mentorship program, or you want to partner up, click below and we'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.